Week 12 extensions. So the first question says, identify the zeros of the function f of x equal x squared plus 2x minus 3. Well, what you should know that the word zeros is just another name to talk about x-intercepts, alright? Which is just another name to talk about roots, alright? And roots are the results when you factor, okay? So roots is the result, okay, when you factor, okay? So what we need to do, guys, is that we're going to go ahead and convert this into factored form. Because again, when you're factoring, you're going to put it into factored form, okay? So factored form is 2 pairs of parentheses, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and find all the variables that gives me x squared, which is x and x. Find all the numbers that multiply to give me 3, which is 1 and 3. That's the only pair. So I put my 1, I put my 3. And negative right here means what type of signs, guys? Different signs, all right? So that means one of them is going to be positive, the other is negative, or one's negative and the other is positive. To get a positive 2, the bigger number would have to be positive, okay? So these are the factors, okay? But it's the result after we factor, okay? So we need to set this equal to 0, set this equal to 0. So actually I should have said result after you factor, okay? So again, we would add 1, so x is positive 1. Here we would subtract 3, x is negative 3, all right? So the answer would be positive 1, negative 3. So let's try the next one. So it says, what is the root of the function shown? All right. So in this case, root is another name for zeros, another name for x-intercepts, and it's just the result after you factor. But the thing about this is that these numbers are a little large, so I'm going to firstly factor a GCF. So what I'm going to do first is that I'm going to factor a GCF. All right. GCF is greatest common factor. So when I look at this, I'm going to look for the largest number that I can divide 16, 48, and 36 by. So I can divide 16 by 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. I can divide 48 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 16, and 24, and 48. And I can divide 36 by 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10. Oh, I forgot 12 for this one too. So 12 goes into 48 also. All right. 12 for 36, and then half of 36 is 18. Okay, and then 36. Okay. So what's the largest number they all have in common? The largest number they all have in common would be possibly 4. All right? So that means I'm going to factor 4 because the 4 is the largest number they have in common here. 4, 4. Every other number, because this doesn't have a 6. All right? This has an 8, 8, but this doesn't have an 8. This has a 16, this has a 16, but this doesn't have a 16 in common. So the largest number they have in common is 4. So I'm going to factor out 4. So it's like I'm dividing each of these terms by 4. Divide this by 4. I get 4x squared. Divide this by 4. I get negative 12x. Divide this by 4. I get 9. All right? Now the numbers are a little bit smaller, which makes it a little easier for me to factor. So I'm going to go ahead and factor. So I'm going to try to do the method called slide and divide. I'm going to take the leading coefficient, slide it to the end. The x squared, I'm going to bring it down, okay? So I'm going to ignore this for right now. X squared, I'm going to bring it down. Negative 12x, I'm going to bring it down. 4 and the 9, I'm going to multiply to get 36. Now I'm going to do factored form, write my x and my x, okay? And then to get 36, what number is multiplied to give me 36? Well, I have them all over here. So 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 6 times 6, okay? So which pair will give me a 12? All right, that pair would be 6 and 6, okay? So So I have my 6 and my 6. When you see a positive here, think about same signs. What same signs will give me a negative 12? Both of them have to be negative. Alright, now that I did the slide, now I need to divide. So I divide by 4, divide by 4. I can divide this by 4, but I can simplify it to be negative 3 over 2, because both of them are divisible by 2. This will simplify to, again, be negative 3 over 2. Okay, so I take the 2, put it in front of the x. So now I would have 2x minus 3. And then I do the same thing here. Take the 2, put it in front of the x. So now I have 2x minus 3. Okay? Alright, so all I need to do now, guys, is just set them equal to 0. So I would have 2x minus 3 equals 0. So again, 2x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3, add 3. So we have 2x equals 3. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So x is 3 over 2. Because these are the same equations, this will also be 3 over 2. Alright? So because they're the same thing, I'm only going to use one of them as a solution. Alright? So the solution would be the x value is 3 over 2. Alright? And then the y value would be 0. Because a root is when your y value is 0. Okay? So again, a root is when your y value is 0. So after you factor, the y value has to be 0. Alright? So let's try the next one. So the next one says, what is the largest possible value of x that satisfies the equation? So for this, guys, all I need to do is just try and define the largest value of x. Okay? So firstly, move everything to the same side by subtracting 27, subtracting 27. That gets canceled. The x squared, I bring it down. Negative 4x, I bring it down. Alright, the 6, I am adding negative 27 to it, or rather, I'm subtracting negative 27 from it, okay? And I get negative 21, okay, equal to 0. Now I put it into factored form, 2 pairs of parentheses. I put my x, find all the numbers that multiply to give me 21. 1 and 21, 3 times 7. Which pair do you think would add or subtract to give me 4? 3 times 7. So I put my 3, I put my 7, and negative here means what type of signs? Different signs. And that means one of them could be positive, other could be negative, or one's negative, the other is positive. To get a negative 4, the bigger number would have to be negative. Okay? So all I gotta do is solve. So I would write x minus 7 equals 0. Alright? And x plus 3 equals 0. So I add 7, add 7. So here, x will be equal to 7. Here, I subtract 3, subtract 3. So x is equal to negative 3. Alright? So which one is a bigger value? Positive 7 will always be bigger than a negative number. A positive number is always bigger than a negative number. Alright? So positive 7 is the result. Okay? So let's look at the next one. So it says, write an equation that could be used to determine the length and width of a rectangle with an area of 120 feet squared. Given the length is x plus 5 feet and the width is 2x feet, what would the equation be? Alright? So we have a rectangle, guys. A rectangle, alright, where the length is x plus 5 and then the width, okay, is, oh shoot, I did that incorrectly, guys. Alright, length is the long side. So the length is x plus 5 and the width is 2x. Apologies, guys. Okay, 2x. Alright, so here we know the area is 120. Okay, but how do you find the area of a rectangle? To find the area, you do length times width. So essentially, this area is equal to 120. So essentially, this length of x plus 5 multiplied by this width of 2x should give me an area of 120. Alright? So again, if I go ahead and see which one that looks like this answer. Alright, so let's try the next one. So the next one says, at what x value does the parabola y equal 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 intersect the x-axis? Whenever you intersect the x-axis, that's what you call an x-intercept. Alright? So again, when you're intersecting the x-axis, that is called a what? X-intercept. Okay? So essentially, I need to try to factor this and find the x-intercept. So we have 4x squared minus 12x plus 9 equals 0. Because again, an x-intercept is also when y equals 0. Alright? So that's why I made the y value here 0. I just wrote this at the end just so it looks a little bit more familiar to you. Okay? So again, now we're going to try to factor. So I'm going to do slide and divide, take the leading coefficient, slide it to the 9, x squared, I bring it down, negative 12x, I bring it down, 4 and 9, I multiply to get 36, okay, equals 0. So then I put factored form, what gives me 36, 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 6 and 6. To get a 12, I would use 6 and 6. So, I forgot to put my x's. 6 and 6. Positive here means what type of signs? Same signs. So it could be either 2 positives or 2 negatives. To get a negative 12, I need 2 negatives when I subtract. So my x values are going to be positive 6, because again, you just write that x minus 6 equals 0. Add 6, x equals 6. Okay? Because these are the two same x. Oh, what did we forget to do? So guys, we forgot to do something before we did this. You should have done what? Divided. Alright? So I'm supposed to divide by 4 first. Okay? So this would have been 6 over 4, which simplifies to be 2 over 3. Divide by 4. So again, you can't divide this by 4, but you can simplify it to be 3 over 2. Oh, 3 over 2. Apologies, guys. So here I would have the x minus 3 over 2, because both of them are simplified by 2. And then all I do is x minus 3 over 2. Oh no, sorry, take the 2, put in front of the x. So I have 2x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3, So we have 2x equals 3, divide by 2, x is 3 over 2. Alright? So again, guys, just like that. So the x value is 3 over 2. Alright? So let's do the next question. So it says a quadratic function has roots of 5 and negative 7 and passes through the point negative 3, negative 120. What is its equation? So for something like this, guys, here we were told that we have roots. Roots is another name for x-intercept, which essentially means that the y value is 0. So this is how you write roots. So if you have a root of 5, you're saying x is equal to 5. You have a root of negative 7, you're saying x equals negative 7. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to try to turn it from a root. So again, this is a root. And I'm going to turn it into a factor. Okay? So to turn it into a factor, I'm putting it back into parentheses. And I'm moving the 5 to the other side, so I would subtract 5. Alright? I'm moving the negative 7 to the other side, so I would add 7. Alright? So this is what the factored form would look like. Okay? But it says that it's passing through some point. So this is what you're going to say. You're going to say that you're going to have a function y equal some a value, which we don't know what that is, being multiplied by x minus 5 and x plus 7, right? We were given this coordinate where this represents the x value and the y value we're passing through. So I substitute that y value here. And I substitute the x value for each of these x values here. So the a stays the same. Substitute the x value right here. Substitute the x value right here. Alright, calculate what's in the parentheses. So 128, I bring it down. A, I bring down. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. Negative 3 plus 7 is positive 4. Here, I multiply these two. So I end up having negative 128 equal A. Parentheses negative, or well, negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. So I would have negative 32. So I actually have negative 32A. So now divide by negative 32. Divide by negative 32. A is equal to, I think, 128 divided by, or, well, firstly, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. But I think 128 divided by 32 would be, oh, I put too many zeros. So, too many zeros. Yep, it would be 4. Okay? So, your A value is 4. So, all I need to do is substitute the A value back here. So, I'd have y equal 4, parentheses, x minus 5, x plus 7. Alright? and that looks like this one right here, okay? But this one is a very difficult question, all right? Pretty difficult.